Hey everyone, my name is Charlie, and today I'll be discussing the importance and effects of friendly fire in Vermintide 2. Before we go ahead and begin, however, I thought it would be fun to provide you with a little tease for you to contemplate while you watch this video. Which of the following weapons does the most friendly fire with one shot, normal or charged? Is it A. Blunderbuss, B. Repeater Pistol, C. Handgun, D. Grudge Raker, or E. Volley Crossbow? Stick around until the end of the video to find out the answer. Also, let me know in the comments below if you guessed it correctly and try to be honest, please. So, friendly fire. For those of you who don't want to watch the entire video, my answer is that friendly fire is not very important in the grand scheme of things. Notice that I have specifically made reference to in the grand scheme of things. Stick around if you want to know what I specifically mean. When I started playing this game a few months ago, of course you begin on recruit difficulty, then move on to veteran, and so on. At those lower difficulties, friendly fire is obviously a non-issue since it doesn't exist. I remember leveling up with my friends who had invested hundreds of hours into Vermintide 1, and they would warn me that eventually, once we'd reach champion level, I would have to be very careful with friendly fire. And the reality is that you do need to be careful with friendly fire. I'm not saying friendly fire is irrelevant. What I said is that in the grand scheme of things, it's not that important. At the time of recording this video, I have invested around 800 hours into Vermintide 2. I can confirm to you that in every single match I've played, leading up to those 800 hours, friendly fire has never determined whether or not I complete a mission. Not once have I ever failed a mission due to friendly fire. This is why I make reference to in the grand scheme of things, because the objective of this game is to get from point A of a mission to point B. In other words, to complete missions. That is really the main objective, so to speak. Having fun with different classes, different builds, different group compositions, grims, tomes, and so on are all side perks or challenges, if you will. At the end of the day, at the most basic level of the game, your objective is to complete the mission and get your loot. I don't really think anybody can argue with that. So what can friendly fire affect or determine? What friendly fire can determine, potentially and on less occasions, is how successful the mission is. Have I ever accidentally killed a teammate that was carrying a grim? Sure, I think. I can't really recall the moment since it's such a rare occurrence. I mean, maybe it happened once. Can you get a chaos patrol and you accidentally kill a teammate, thus leading to a domino effect where you have less team members alive to take care of the patrol, leading to another team member dying because they didn't have their usual backup in the front line? Sure, all of these situations are possible. However, the real question is, how often do these situations present themselves? And what are the chances of one of your teammates being so low on health that they decide to stand in the front line knowing they could be killed with one or two friendly fire hits or enemy strikes? In my case in particular, I can't really recall it ever occurring, although after 800 hours invested and hundreds of matches, it's normal to find it difficult to remember, especially when these situations are so rare. Granted, after you invest so many hours, you gain a lot of practice on how to avoid friendly fire as much as possible. Don't get me wrong, it's virtually impossible to avoid friendly fire in general. It doesn't matter how good you are at avoiding friendly fire, you're still gonna hit someone for many different reasons. It could be because your teammate wasn't aware of your positioning in the bag and dodges right into your line of fire. It could be because you're running a certain weapon that makes it very hard to avoid friendly fire, such as Sienna's staffs or Barden's flame cannon, etc. The reality is that thanks to temp health, or temporary health, friendly fire isn't a really big concern unless you get hit for very large amounts, of course. I'm guessing my friends were warning me about friendly fire when I started leveling because temp health, to my understanding, doesn't exist in Vermintide 1. So I can imagine that friendly fire was a significantly bigger issue in the first game. During a horde, you're all going to be murdering rats by the dozens in order to gain temp health, and those of you behind that are firing your ranged weapons will inevitably hit your teammates at least once. But that's fine since you gain so much temp health during hordes. Remember, hordes really are... what's the word? Cannon fodder. They're not a huge threat. Generally, you really look forward to them to gain temporary health. Okay, so when do I think friendly fire can be the most detrimental to my team? My opinion comes purely from experience, and this issue tends to happen quite a lot. The problem with friendly fire is it affecting your crosshair. If you're at melee, killing with your melee weapon, it's not really a big issue. However, if you have to switch to your ranged weapon in order to kill 2 or 3 specials as quickly as possible, and you get hit by a fireball or hagbane arrow, for example, you won't be able to aim effectively. Therefore, the special will have more uptime to potentially mess with the group's positioning and control. The perfect example is when a gas rat or 2 spawn, you ideally want to kill them before they throw their gas bomb. However, if you get hit by friendly fire, your crosshair will expand and therefore you won't be able to hit your targets from a certain distance. This gives the gas rat enough time for it to successfully launch its bomb, dropping it right in the middle of the group, forcing everyone to scatter and move position as quickly as possible, further leaving you vulnerable to attacks from other mobs such as elites or other specials, potentially at least. For me personally, this is where I have seen and felt the biggest impact of friendly fire. Having said that, however, even though these situations I've mentioned tend to occur more often, it's still not enough to justify friendly fire as a huge concern. Now, what I want to know from all of you is how badly has friendly fire affected your matches? Have you found yourselves in situations I've mentioned? Has friendly fire ever been bad enough for you that it deterred you from finishing a mission? I'm curious to know about your experiences because again, all of this is based on my experience, playing with friends and randoms. At the beginning of the video, I asked you which ranged weapon does the most friendly fire in one shot, normal or charged. Did you correctly guess which weapon does the most friendly fire? The answer is... the repeater pistol, with a charged shot of course. Yeah, I was also very surprised after testing all of the weapons. Be very careful with this weapon, it does anywhere from 30 to 60 damage. That's a range of 30 to 60% of your health gone in one hit, and 25 to 50% if you've rolled 20% health on your necklace. That's pretty ridiculous. I highly recommend you don't get in the way of a bounty hunter, especially when they have blessed shots up. This goes for pretty much all of the bounty hunter's ranged weapons, especially the repeater pistol. If you've enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you really enjoyed it and found it useful, go ahead and subscribe. I really appreciate your support as always. I enjoy reading your comments and I do try to respond to every single one. Thank you, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye bye now, you take care.